Just arriving there for a rally. He's on Air Force Two that just landed. And we're waiting to see, as you can see him, deplaning and approaching. This is the same place that President Trump was just a few weeks ago. So this is a familiar area for Republicans. It's in Marathon County. It is a big area for the Republicans and one where they won some big numbers 4 years ago. So not surprising to see the vice president there, as well as the president. We know that the president was just here yesterday in the La Crosse area, and the president coming back later this week going to Green Bay. So there he is, Vice President Mike Pence, holding an outdoor rally at the airport there in Mosinee, arriving just as we go on the air here. It's going to be a busy week for the candidates. We do know that Vice President Biden also expected here on Friday. Let's listen in just a little bit to what the Vice President is going to say.
Thank you all for coming out. It's great to be with you today. Just 6 days away from a great victory all across the state of Wisconsin and all across America, when we re-elect President Donald Trump for 4 more years.
We'll continue to follow that and bring you any updates as that event continues. The candidates have campaign stops lined up in battleground Wisconsin for the rest of the week. As I mentioned, while her husband is up in the vice president's wife, the second lady, Karen Pence, is now campaigning in Waterloo today. She's hosting a Make America Great Again rally. Meanwhile, Joe Biden, as I mentioned, will be in Wisconsin Friday. His campaign still hasn't provided any details on where he will be or where he's going to be holding an event. The campaign is hosting a bus tour with Wisconsin Democrats. That will include Senator Tammy Baldwin and Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. Starting tomorrow, the group will make stops across the state, including in Brookfield and Milwaukee, and then we'll wrap up on Saturday. And after rallying in West Salem yesterday near La Crosse, President Trump is making yet another stop, as I mentioned, in the Badger State. This time, he'll be in Green Bay on Friday. We will have full coverage of these events up on our website or streaming apps, as well as in our newscasts. Tuesday is Election Day, but already people in Wisconsin have been voting. Lots of people have been voting. Let's take a look at the numbers as we approach what we can see so far in the number of people who have asked for a mail-in ballot. Right now, that number is more than 1.8 million people. Let's look at how many people have returned those ballots so far. 1.54 million people have already voted in Wisconsin, and we expect to see somewhere around 3 million votes when it's all said and done. Let's take a look at the numbers. That's how many people have actually gone to the clerk's office and voted early, more than 400,000. So it's been very busy with still 6 days to go until Election Day. Although hundreds of thousands of folks have already cast their ballot early, by law, ballots cannot be counted until Election Day. So how soon will we see results? Well, we asked. Washington County plans to have ballots counted by 9:30 on Election Day. Kenosha, Sheboygan, and Fond du Lac counties plan to have their results in by midnight, while Waukesha County plans to be done counting by 3 the next morning, and Milwaukee County hopes to be done by 6 a.m. the day after Election Day. We reached out to Walworth, Ozaukee, and Racine counties, but they would not say when their results will be done. As we have seen in past elections, every vote counts. Black voters are among the group that could make a difference in the outcome this year. And as Maya Rodriguez reports, that could all come down to turnout in some key states.
Florida, home to green palms, sunny skies, and long lines for early voting.
We're seeing a lot of people who are actively engaged.
Dr. Larry Walker is a professor at the University of Central Florida, specializing in race and voting rights. He says looking at state data, he expects a higher black voter turnout this year in Florida, a state where they account for 14% of eligible voters.
I think we're going to see increasingly more black voters that didn't vote in 2016 or weren't registered to vote in this election.
But will they in other battleground states?
I think our culture don't vote enough. To be honest, I don't know. I don't really know.
American University decided to find out. Researchers surveyed 1,200 black voters in the battleground states of Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. What researchers found? Differences that are generational. When it comes to how motivated they are to vote, older black voters overwhelmingly say they will definitely vote, while only 29% of black voters under the age of 30 said they would. American University's Sam Fullwood is one of the researchers involved in the Black Swing Voter Project.
The starkest difference of all those different categories came along generational lines.
How do black voters in swing states feel about the candidates? That also differs by age, with support for former Vice President Biden higher among older black voters than younger. Conversely, President Trump's support is higher among younger black voters than older, though still in the single digits.
Politicians, whether they're Democrats or Republicans, if they want to engage young African Americans, they're going to have to show some tangible benefits of political engagement that would make them feel that there is a reason to participate in the system.
A system where voting is the first step in the political process. In Orlando, I'm Maya Rodriguez.
Researchers say it's possible Senator Kamala Harris' historic run on the Democratic ticket as a vice presidential candidate of black and South Asian descent could help bring some black voters to the polls. We will see if that rings true come Election Day. And as you head to the polls, we are here to help with any problems you might have casting your ballot. We've partnered with the nonprofit Newsroom to talk about this with Election Land Project. It's a nationwide media collaboration to track voter problems and ensure election integrity. Head to tmj4.com/vote to send in your tips. Still ahead, if you're feeling stressed out, you're not alone. Doctors say a second wave of mental health devastation brought on by this pandemic and other issues is imminent. We take a look at some recent studies and how to get help. Today, the City of Milwaukee's Office of Workforce Development held a pair of drive-through job fairs focusing on neighborhoods on the north side and northwest side hit hard by COVID-19. Employers were hiring for manufacturing, office, healthcare work, and more. Those that went said it was very helpful, and for them, it was you could quickly apply for those jobs.
I feel like it's way easier. I feel like I probably can actually go to the crib and fill out for one of these jobs and get in with no problem.
Julian Hester is from Atlanta and lost his job due to the pandemic. Lockdowns, unemployment, illness, the problems caused by the coronavirus pandemic pile up on your family, then throw in elections and natural disasters, a lot going on. Tracy Carlos's Rebound Report now. She shows us a study how 2020 is stressing everyone.
The pandemic, election, civil unrest.
Your life has been yanked out from underneath you.
Is causing stress, fear, and anxiety.
We know that people are really suffering.
Perhaps more now than ever before.
You could tell just on the phone calls, their voices are stressed.
A recent CDC study reported 41% of people had a significant mental health concern. 31% had signs of anxiety or depression. 13% reported more substance abuse, and 11% considered suicide. Dr. Donald Malone is chairman of behavioral health for the Cleveland Clinic.
You compare it to the numbers from a year prior, significant differences. Anxiety was 3 times higher, depression was 4 times higher. Suicidal thinking was double.
For Sarah Flynn, the pandemic, managing twin little boys, their schooling, and both Sarah and her husband's jobs shifting to working from home, like many of us, got to be too much.
This fear of this unknown with this pandemic and what's going to happen. And I try to stay positive, but it was really, really difficult to do that at that time. And it caught up with me.
Like many police departments across Northeast Ohio,
Some of the calls that come in, people are real anxious.
calls for wellness checks and other mental health issues have increased slightly for Avon Police, and they expect more.
We're going into the holidays, and holidays is normally you get more calls for service for welfare checks, mental health things. We're thinking there's going to be an uptick.
Sarah Flynn got help through a therapist and is now on a mission to help others.
It's almost becoming the norm that more people are struggling than not, and it's okay to seek help.
And several new studies out this week have verified what many of us already knew. The American Psychological Association found nearly 80% of adults say the pandemic is a significant source of stress in their lives. Now, for ways to handle this, you can go to tmj4.com/rebound and click on Managing the Pressure. There you'll find mental health resources and ways some local organizations are helping to lift our spirits. We'll be right back. All right, let's talk about the weather. Have you ever seen snow in Las Vegas? Well, this is actually Las Vegas, New Mexico, which received 6 inches of snow in 24 hours. Yeah, it caught many people off guard, causing slick and icy roads for commuters. Yes, as you can see, snow will be coming our way eventually.